I was madly in love with a woman who was also my wife. I was ready to give my life for her if necessary. It was unbearable for me to see her spending time with another man, laughing with him, touching him, and looking at him. It hurt me, and I started acting. Within the organization, I took on the guise of a senior accountant, a facade that shielded the true nature of my job from my wife and friends. They remained unaware of my deep involvement in a highly perilous role. Instead, they saw me as a mere office worker, a misunderstanding that often resulted in jokes and remarks like pencil pusher or file clerk. While I didn't appreciate their teasing and humiliation, I lived with the knowledge of my actual position within the FBI. Our social circle, consisting of individuals with influential roles and successful endeavors, only highlighted the gap between their perceptions and my reality. Their prestigious careers made mine seem insignificant, fostering a feeling of inadequacy within me that often made me want to reveal my true role in the agency to them. Adding to the humiliation, I sensed discomfort from some of my family members regarding my profession, which intensified my internal struggle. Compared to all our friends, I held the least glamorous position, despite it being with the FBI. Despite my strong urge to disclose the truth and receive the recognition my work merited, strict confidentiality agreements kept me silent. Thus, I grappled with the weight of their disappointment. My beloved wife, Erica, always stood by my side, assuring everyone that my job with the FBI was safe and expressing pride in my work. She never fretted over my safety in the field, valuing me for who I was beyond my profession. Our marriage was built on strength and love, and I cherished her deeply. Despite our closeness and shared bond, it pained me to conceal this secret from her. After 23 years with the Bureau, I found myself on the path to a promotion, invited to D.C. alongside my partner, Roger Sykes. My name is Brock Williams, and for the past 5 years, I've been part of a covert operation tasked with rooting out terrorist cells within the U.S. With several successful missions under my belt, I was being considered for a significant role that would likely be my final assignment before retirement in 7 years. As previously mentioned, the nature of my work demanded absolute secrecy, with even my closest friends and family unaware of the dangers I faced. I couldn't divulge much to Erica, as my position required top-secret clearance and strict confidentiality. Despite the challenges, I managed to compartmentalize my professional life and maintain a facade of normalcy as a husband. My guise as an FBI accountant provided cover for my travels and duties. In truth, I was part of a clandestine team infiltrating some of the nation's most perilous terrorist networks, safeguarding our country from imminent threats. Throughout the years, a number of my team members faced injuries and even fatalities on duty. Yet these incidents never breached the boundary into my personal life with Erica. Given my frequent travels, this particular trip wasn't unexpected for her. Informing her that I'd be away for 2 nights flying up to the D.C. office, I bid her farewell at 4 p.m. as my partner Roger swung by to pick me up from our home. Erica, my beloved wife, bestowed upon me a tender kiss and waved us off as we departed. Our narrative is one of Erica, our children, and our 25-year journey as spouses. Erica and I crossed paths during our freshman year of college, and from then on, we were inseparable. Universally recognized as soulmates, we embodied the ideal couple. Shortly after college, we tied the knot, and for the subsequent quarter-century, we nurtured an idyllic union. Raising 2 remarkable children who were now in college themselves, we eagerly anticipated my retirement in 5 years. Never once did Erica give me cause for jealousy or doubt in her affections. On the contrary, she appeared to take pride in my FBI career, consistently showing me admiration in the presence of our loved ones. While I pursued my duties within the FBI, Erica thrived as an office manager for a local government contractor, entrusted with top-secret clearance due to the sensitive nature of the agency's work. Revered by her colleagues and by myself, her devoted husband, Erica, at 47, retained her allure with a figure maintained through diligent gym sessions and wholesome diets. It seemed as though we had it all, and as my career stood on the brink of advancement, I looked forward to the prospect of finally revealing my past endeavors to Erica, should I secure the promotion to assistant director. During all my travels, I always bid Erica farewell with a warm, affectionate kiss, accompanied by loving words exchanged between us, much to Roger's amusement after 25 years of marriage. On the way to the airport, Roger quipped, "Are you two genuinely that happy, or is it all just a facade for my benefit?" "Roger, I've cherished that woman since the day I met her in the college bookstore. She's my everything. Sure, I love my job, the excitement, and the success we've achieved, but without her, I'd be nothing. I'm eager for this promotion, not just for the career advancement, but to spend more time with her and finally reveal the truth about my job. It's been challenging keeping it a secret all these years, and I can't wait to share it with her after all this time." As we drove to the airport, I pondered my life, silently expressing gratitude for its blessings. My children, my wife, our health, and the realization of my dreams all filled me with appreciation. Airport fiasco. Upon arriving at the gate, we encountered a 1-hour delay, during which we occupied ourselves with work on our laptops in the airport lounge. However, 1 hour stretched into 2, culminating in the cancellation of our flight due to mechanical issues with the aircraft. Despite attempts to secure an alternative flight, all were fully booked, forcing us to reschedule for the next morning. As we departed the airport, I attempted to reach Erica, only to have her phone immediately divert to voicemail. Given its propensity for a swift transition to voicemail, I surmised that her phone likely suffered from a dead battery, a recurring issue she had neglected to address by getting a new one. Nonetheless, I resolved to purchase her one this weekend. "Brock, I'm famished, and as luck would have it, we're passing Emilo's on our way home. It's time for a sumptuous dinner on the company's dime, and I suggest we make a pit stop." "Excellent idea. I'm craving a juicy steak, and Emilo's is just the place. While it may be pricey with the agency footing the bill, count me in." Shortly before 8 p.m., we settled into our seats and ordered our first round of drinks. We discussed the flight delay and left messages with our liaison regarding the cancellation. They adjusted the itinerary to accommodate us and arranged hotel accommodations. I was halfway through my second vodka martini when Roger glanced up and chuckled. "Brock, Erica's lookalike just entered the restaurant." "What do you mean?" "Well, don't turn around just yet, but this woman is a dead ringer for your wife. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear it was her." "All right. They're seated 6 tables directly behind you. Have a look and tell me I'm imagining things." I turned slowly and spotted the woman he mentioned. He was almost correct. She wasn't a doppelganger. She was Erica. My wife, Erica, was seated with a man I didn't recognize. "Roger, that's not her look-alike. That's my wife." "Damn, this isn't good. Perhaps it's a work meeting or something. I'll try calling her again to see if she picks up." "It's ringing." Erica heard her phone, retrieved it from her purse, glanced at the number, and declined the call. Once again, it went straight to voicemail. I was stunned as I watched her disregard my call and dismiss me so casually. After she stowed the phone, she reached across and clasped the man's hand, gazing into his eyes with a look she used to reserve for me, now directed at another man. Someone who wasn't me. This wasn't a business meeting, it was a date. Damn. My wife chose the moment I was out of town to go on a date, betraying me and our marriage. Never in a million years would I have anticipated this. How could I, an experienced investigator, have missed it? Anger threatened to overwhelm me, but drawing on my expertise, I managed to quell it and analyze the situation. Roger, familiar with my mannerisms, noticed my unease and understood the precarious situation. "Brock, this situation is terrible. What's our next move?" "I'm not sure yet. Let me mull it over." I dialed her number again, but it went straight to voicemail. Clearly, she had switched off her phone to avoid interruption. Leaving a message expressing my disappointment at her deliberate avoidance of my call, I devised a plan. Roger, would you be willing to assist me? I hate to involve you in my personal issues, but I could really use your support. Absolutely, count me in, buddy. What's the plan? When I signal you, I need you to escort the unwanted guest outside for a little investigative chat, if you catch my drift. Got it. Just give me the signal, and I'll get him outside for a little Q&A session. We probably shouldn't order any food because I doubt we'll be sticking around. We can grab something on the way after we're done dealing with these two lovebirds. A few minutes later, she rose from her seat. Brock, she's heading to the restroom. Perfect. You handle him outside, and I'll take his spot at the table. Let's see how my dear wife reacts when she returns from the restroom to find me waiting. It should make for an interesting conversation, don't you think? Brock, I'm really sorry about all of this. It's messed up. Not your fault. Now go on. You better get moving. Roger approached my wife's date, his imposing physique looming over the man. Presenting his FBI identification, he requested the man step outside discreetly. Despite initial reluctance, the man acquiesced under Roger's authoritative demeanor. Standing at 6'3" and weighing 240 pounds of muscle, Roger commanded respect from most. Once outside, he activated his voice recorder, questioning the man against their car. What's your name? Clark Williams. Clark, did you realize you're on a date with my partner's wife? He's an agent, currently inside with Erica. I didn't know he was FBI. I thought he was an accountant. But you were aware she's married? Yes, but she assured me it was okay. Do you often date married women? No, but we've developed a close friendship at work. Does she work under you? Yes. Are you married yourself? Yes. Does your spouse know about tonight's date? No, and it must stay that way. It would devastate her and ruin me. You're aware of the mess you've made, right? Why should I give a damn about you or your family after you've wrecked my partner's marriage? Please don't tell my wife. I have 3 young children and I don't want to destroy my marriage. I'm sorry for this, and I wouldn't have gone out with her if I knew he wasn't okay with it. Listen, Clark. Your wife discovering you're a cheater is the least of your worries right now. How long have you been seeing Erica? This is our first time, I swear. Don't lie to me, Clark. Have you slept with her yet? No, I swear, this is our first date. Were you planning to sleep with her tonight? Well, I didn't have plans, but I was hoping she'd invite me back to her place. Did she give you any indication that she wanted that? No, but I just assumed she did. You know, being married and all. Allowed to date outside her marriage. All right, wait here and don't move until we figure out what my partner wants to do with you. Sir, I'm terrified here. Can you give me a break and let me go? My wife will divorce me if she finds out, and I have 3 kids who need their father. Oh, so now you're worried about your wife and kids. You weren't concerned about them before you met me, were you? No, you're an asshole for dating a married woman and betraying your family. Just be quiet and wait for my partner. I don't want to hear another word from your cheating mouth. Inside the restaurant again, after Roger and Clark left, I moved to Erica's table and took Clark's seat. Holding up the large menu to conceal my face, I sensed Erica's approach and recognized her scent as she sat down. Knowing I was about to confront a devastating moment in my 25-year marriage, my heart sank. With my phone secretly recording, I listened as my wife addressed her date, who was now me. Honey, I'm back. Did you find something appetizing on the menu? Clark, could you lower the menu? I want to see those captivating eyes of yours. Gradually, I lowered the menu and questioned, Honey, captivating eyes? Care to explain, Erica? Her expression twisted in shock upon seeing me across from her, and then she collapsed in her chair with an incomprehensible sound, like a wounded animal. The realization that it was me caused her to faint. I remained seated, observing my soon-to-be ex-wife, trying to contain my rage. After a few moments, a woman from the nearby table, coincidentally a nurse, hurried to her side, grabbing a napkin and saturating it with ice water. She gently applied the chilled napkin to her face, and soon after, Erica regained consciousness. Despite my gratitude, the nurse shot me a disapproving glare. I remained silent, my expression dark and hollow as I observed Erica, who trembled visibly while I sat across from her, wordless. She remained in a state of shock, her confusion evident. Her spirit shattered as tears streamed down her cheeks. With a quivering voice, she looked up at me and uttered, "I'm sorry." For what felt like an eternity, neither of us spoke. She wept, and I struggled to contain my anger. Finally, I broke the silence with a single question, spoken in a tone she had never heard from me before. "Why?" Her composure crumbled once more, and she buried her face in her hands as the other diners watched the emotional exchange unfold. The restaurant manager intervened, only calming down when I presented my identification and explained that my wife was overwhelmed by a surprise. With that settled, I redirected all my attention to my beloved wife. "Erica, at this moment, your partner is outside being questioned by Roger, and soon I'll be filled in on everything. It'd be wise to come clean to me before I hear it from Roger. I'm after the truth, so don't bother attempting deception. I'll have all the details shortly. Why did you do this? How long have you been unfaithful? Brock, he's not my partner, and I've never done this before. I simply wanted a night out with Clark. We're colleagues who grew close. It was our first time out alone. Why didn't you just tell me you wanted to end our marriage? I cared for you and wouldn't have held you back. But instead, you did the worst possible thing. You concealed it from me, cheated behind my back, and embarrassed me in front of my colleague. Who knows who else saw you with another man, on a date, dressed provocatively, all dolled up like you were actively seeking attention? Brock, I don't want to end our marriage. I love you." "You love me? Seriously? You're going to lie to my face? You're out on a date with another man dressed up, obviously looking for something tonight. And you claim you love me. That's absurd, and you know it. No, you just ended our 25-year marriage and shattered the heart of a good man who adored you and wanted to spend his life with you. Brock, I love you, and I don't want a divorce. Nothing happened. You can't divorce me. I love you. I once loved you too, but you've already made your decision and it wasn't in my favor. You've chosen another man. So be it. Go ahead, be with him. Let him fulfill your desires. My plans have changed, and if you had just answered my calls instead of ignoring them, perhaps your marriage could have been salvaged. But as it stands, it's over between us. I'm leaving in the morning, uncertain of when I'll return. I may just stay in D.C. and leave you behind." She cried harder, pleading, "Please, Brock, don't do this to me." "Do this to you? Are you delusional or just foolish? You brought this upon yourself, not me. Stay here. I'll speak with your boyfriend and arrange for him to take you home. Don't try to contact me because there's nothing left to say." With that, I rose abruptly, gazing at my once beautiful wife. "Erica, you look stunning tonight. I only wish it were me you were trying to impress. Goodbye, Erica." A wave of sadness engulfed me as I looked at her, fearing it might be the last time we're together as spouses. My heart ached as I left her there, shattered and in tears. Hearing her cries as I walked away was heartbreaking. Meeting Clark. I encountered Roger outside the restaurant and overheard his conversation with her date, which infuriated me upon learning about our supposed open marriage. Turning to the man standing by the car, I immediately noticed his trembling, nervous demeanor. "Brock, meet Clark, the man who's been involved with your wife. He's her manager at work, married with 3 children. He claims nothing has happened yet and that you two have an open marriage." "Thank you, Roger." "Open marriage? That's news to me. Roger, could you give us a moment, please?" Roger walked away and I confronted Clark. "So you're the one who's been involved with my wife?" "No, sir, I haven't." "But you were planning to tonight, weren't you?" "I just spoke with my soon-to-be ex-wife, so I suggest you don't lie." Well, it's true. We share a special connection. But tonight was our first time together. I'm sorry, sir. After hearing that, I spoke in a commanding tone that startled Clark. So, you're involved with another man's wife? Clark, do you understand the gravity of what you're confessing to me? Do you think I'm oblivious? Explain to me, why shouldn't I bring you in for questioning and launch a thorough investigation into your entire life right now? Please, I never intended any harm, but I see now the mistake I've made, and I'm genuinely sorry. I'll never engage with her on a personal level again, I swear. Sir, you mentioned future ex-wife, but you can't just divorce her. She adores you and speaks highly of you constantly. Frankly, I never imagined she'd agree to see me, but I persuaded her. It's my fault entirely. If I hadn't pushed, none of this would have happened. Please find it in your heart to forgive her. Forgive her. That's doubtful. Now, what am I supposed to do with you? You've shattered a 25-year marriage. Besides wrecking my relationship with Erica, your actions will devastate my 2 children. That infuriates me. Do you honestly expect to walk away from this unscathed? Clark continued to plead, tears streaming down his face. Please, I'll do anything if you'll just go easy on me. Clark, you're the least of my concerns right now. I'll deal with you later, and rest assured I'll have your entire life story by this time tomorrow. You're in hot water, but for now you need to take Erica home. Go inside, inform her we've spoken, and I've instructed you to take her home. Do whatever you want with her. She's no longer mine. You've seen to that. Now get out of my sight. Clark hurried into the restaurant while Roger and I drove away in silence. As we drove, Roger eventually broke the silence, saying, Brock, I can't believe she did this. I'm so sorry. I don't know what else to say. Thanks, but there's no need to say anything. I obviously made a mistake and thought I had the perfect marriage. Roger, I loved her. I loved her deeply, and this has really shaken me. For the first time, I'm lost. We made a quick stop for fast food on our way to his place. I was now staying the night at his house, planning to leave for the airport in the morning. Upon arrival, his wife Mary noticed my troubled expression and immediately asked what was wrong. Roger briefed her on the canceled flight and assured her he would fill her in on the details once I was settled in the guest room. As Roger recounted the events, Mary reacted with disbelief. Having known Erica for over a decade, she couldn't comprehend how such a situation could occur. Like everyone else, she had assumed our marriage was perfect. Later, I found out that Erica didn't go home with Clark, but took a taxi back to our empty house. Clark came clean to his wife about his actions, and since nothing physical happened, there was no divorce. Though his life would be difficult for a while, his honesty and lack of physical infidelity saved his marriage. DC meeting. Brock, heading the investigation, was well informed about the ongoing operation in Las Vegas. He had not only infiltrated their cell, but also recruited one of their members after they were apprehended for a hit-and-run incident. He knew the perpetrator wouldn't be spending much time behind bars. Today he was in D.C. preparing to transfer leadership to the Nevada field office. His impending promotion would remove him from field work, away from the dangers he had faced for the past 5 years on this special task force. Despite his life feeling chaotic, Brock's adrenaline surged as he expressed to the director his desire to remain the lead on the task force and see this final case through. While the director resisted, Brock remained resolute, persuading him that the promotion could wait a few more weeks and that he deserved to be involved in this operation, a debt owed to him by the agency. Brock's exposure of the terrorist cell and his pivotal role in its neutralization led the director to reluctantly allow him to continue as the primary agent on the case. Despite initially intending to replace him, the director instructed James Dillard, the prospective replacement, to step down. James, it's Director York. I need you to relinquish your position as I've opted to retain Brock as the lead operative. He'll be departing this afternoon, and I want you to brief him on the mission. James was clearly dissatisfied, voicing his discontent while the director listened in. James, my decision is final. Any objections? I didn't think so. Brock remains in command. You'll afford him every courtesy and full support. Is that understood? With Director York's authority unquestioned, he turned his attention to Brock and Roger. Take the jet and see this through. I expect you back by Monday. This marks your final field operation, Brock. Consider it a favor, and remember, your absence would have allowed these adversaries to continue threatening our nation. Now go, and best of luck. Mission Takedown. As they made their way to the Bureau's jet, Roger expressed his concern to Brock. Brock, is this really a wise decision? Considering what just occurred, you seem to be in a dark place mentally. Roger, I have to do this. I'm filled with so much pent-up energy and frustration because of recent events. I need to channel that energy into this operation and clear my mind. It's the only way I'll be able to focus and address my personal issues. Upon meeting James at the airport, they proceeded to the staging area for the operation. Though James remained polite, it was evident he wasn't pleased about Brock taking charge. Despite his bruised ego, he maintained his professionalism and offered his support to Brock. They were aware of Brock's reputation and held him in high regard. After hours of planning, they aimed to dismantle the terrorist cell just before sunrise the following morning. At 5:15 a.m. the following morning, several blacked-out Escalades parked quietly around the corner from the inconspicuous target house. A team of 6 men dressed in tactical gear moved towards the targeted property from a nearby house. Typically, the team leader would position themselves toward the rear of the group as they breached the door and entered the suspect's residence. However, on this particular occasion, Brock deviated from protocol and took the lead, charging into the unknown, despite James's vocal objections. Unwavering, Brock remained focused on eliminating the threat and dismantling the terrorist cell, disregarding all dissenting voices around him. Driven by a rush of adrenaline and a powerful mix of anger, pain, and frustration, Brock stormed into the residence. Screams rang out amid the chaos, accompanied by the sharp crack of gunfire. However, amid the commotion, Brock's authoritative voice rang out, urgently ordering the team to evacuate the premises. His command was triggered by the frightening realization that one of the criminals was wearing a vest and his hand was dangerously close to the trigger mechanism. Bob was trapped between the entrance to the kitchen and the immediate danger posed by the criminal. He once again relayed instructions through the microphone in his earpiece, ordering everyone to leave the building immediately. Engaged in a tense standoff with the Middle Eastern individual, he endeavored to de-escalate the volatile situation and prevent a disastrous explosion. As tension mounted, Brock quickly recognized the figure before him as Ahmed Mosul, a notorious terrorist on the FBI's most wanted list. All agents successfully evacuated the premises along with 4 apprehended terrorists. Now, it was just Brock and Ahmed facing each other. They stood motionless, locking eyes. Brock knew Ahmed was about to trigger the bomb, but desperately tried to dissuade him. Then, a door in the kitchen creaked open, and a confused 5-year-old girl emerged, witnessing the tense scene. Ahmed, don't do this. Think of your daughter. Let her leave the house. Please. Yet Ahmed remained steadfast and activated the trigger. Brock braced himself for the impending explosion, but to his surprise, nothing happened. Despite Ahmed's efforts to detonate the bomb, it failed to go off. Capitalizing on the moment, Brock swiftly aimed his .45 caliber pistol and delivered 2 fatal shots to Ahmed's head. As Ahmed crumpled to the ground, Brock grabbed the young girl and fled through the front door. Carrying the girl, Brock ran about 15 feet away from the house just as the explosion occurred. The explosion triggered a series of explosions from other explosives in the house, creating a powerful shockwave that left Brock unconscious under the rubble. It is noteworthy that the girl remained unharmed, protected by Brock's body from the strongest explosion. Brock's quick action saved the lives of 6 FBI agents, including his partner and a young girl. However, the force of the explosion threw Brock more than 20 feet into the street, as a result of which he survived, but suffered serious injuries, including significant burns. Apparently, the trigger mechanism had finally triggered the bomb and other explosives in the house. Brock's condition was critical, prompting medics to take him to a renowned military hospital with an exceptional burn center. Erica's reflections. Upon his return to Walter Reed in D.C., she maintained a constant vigil by his side for days. Despite her earlier betrayal, she was hailed as the wife of a hero, with no mention of her past actions. Desperate for answers about the accident, she repeatedly questioned those around her, including Roger, but to no avail. After enduring a week of silence, she pleaded with the director to divulge the truth. "Director, please, I need to know what happened. I can't bear this uncertainty any longer." "Come with me, Erica." Leading her to a secluded office, he motioned for her to sit. "Erica, what I'm about to disclose is strictly confidential. I understand you hold a top-secret clearance, and this information falls under that classification. Your husband has been a key operative in a covert anti-terrorist unit for the past 5 years. That can't be true. He works as an accountant in the field office. Indeed, that's his cover. But he's our most valuable asset, responsible for dismantling numerous terrorist cells nationwide. Erica, your husband is a true hero. However, due to the sensitive nature of his work, he can never be publicly acknowledged for his extraordinary contributions." In stunned silence, she sat there, her entire body buzzing with the realization that each time her husband left home, he faced danger unknown to her, yet she never worried. He wasn't just a hero to the nation, he was her hero too. The director sat quietly, allowing her to absorb his words. Tears streamed down her face as she processed everything. "Erica, Brock was offered a promotion to assistant director with a clear path to eventually take my position. Instead, he chose to stay on the operation he initiated, delaying the promotion until his return. However, what we've discovered is that he violated regulations on this operation, taking the lead in a manner akin to an inexperienced or reckless individual." Her shock was palpable as she gazed at the director, mouth agape. "Director York, do you think he wanted to go to another world?" "Erica, Roger informed me about your marital troubles following the incident. He failed to inform me of Brock's state of mind, a breach of protocol that would have prevented him from being deployed after such an emotional upheaval. It's possible that discovering your infidelity triggered a chain of events leading to this tragic outcome. We're praying for his recovery. The other agents sustained minor injuries and will require a few weeks to recuperate, but we're hopeful Brock will emerge from his coma soon. Oh God, this is all my fault. I can't believe I've done this to him. It was meant to be a one-time thing. I'm sorry for all of this. Erica, we're all fallible as humans and prone to errors. It was crucial for you to learn the truth about your husband and his significance to the agency. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything during your stay." With those words, he departed, leaving her alone, amidst her tears. Sitting there, she couldn't help but dwell on her own remorse and foolishness. With her head bowed in her hands, she addressed the empty room. "Brock, I'm deeply sorry. You're the only man I've ever loved. What I did was wicked and self-serving. Clark had always been so kind to me, and when he asked me out to dinner, I accepted. I knew it was wrong, but something compelled me. Please forgive me. I don't want anyone else. Please come back to me. This is all my fault." Her words dissolved into sobs until a passing nurse noticed her distress. Recognizing her, the nurse guided her to an unoccupied bed, administered tranquilizers, and allowed her to rest. 24 hours later, she emerged from her deep slumber, disoriented at first. But then the conversation with the director flooded back and tears welled up again. Sensing her distress, the nearby nurse inquired if she was all right, and then relayed the news that Brock had regained consciousness a few hours prior. With renewed hope, she leaped out of bed and dashed to her husband's room. Standing in the doorway, she overheard Roger conversing with Brock, who was now awake. "Brock, what in the world was that all about? Why did you charge in like that? Were you trying to get yourself killed?" Brock averted his gaze. Oh my God. Is that why you wanted to lead this operation? Were you looking for an escape route? Brock, so many people care about you, and that would be a cowardly way out. I know it hurts, but that's not an excuse. Roger, you're my closest friend and partner, but you don't understand this. I can't be here anymore. My life is meaningless. I can't live without Erica, and she doesn't need me anymore. Call me a coward or whatever you want, but we broke up and I can't go on without her. These words broke her heart. Tears welled up in her eyes as she pushed past Roger and rushed to her husband, who lay stunned by the unfolding scene. Seeing this, Roger quietly left the room to give them a chance to be alone. Darling, I miss you. I love you. And I can't bear the thought of losing you. Please forgive your stupid wife and come back to me. I know all about the accident and what you did. It was so reckless. Please promise me that you will never do anything like this again. The director told me everything. I can't believe that you've been carrying the burden of your job all these years alone. It must have been unbearable. You're an incredible person, and you're mine. Can you hear me, mister? You won't leave me, she said with a feeling she hadn't felt in years. Brock remained motionless, simply absorbing the embrace and warmth of the woman he had cherished for so long. Yet as he felt her arms around him, the pain of her betrayal surged once more, prompting tears to well in his eyes. Witnessing his anguish, she was overcome with remorse, wishing desperately to retract her actions from that fateful night. Please don't cry, my love, Erica implored. I'm here, and I won't ever leave your side. I adore you deeply, and we'll remain together eternally. I'm sorry. I've made a terrible mistake, and I beg for your forgiveness. Tell me you still love me. Brock remained silent, caught in a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. She had been the sole object of his affection, yet she had given herself to another. Though he couldn't comprehend her motives, he chose, for now, to accept her apology and attempt to quell the ache within his heart. After a prolonged silence, he gathered his thoughts and addressed Erica for the first time since that night. Erica, seeing you with another man shattered my world. I loved you with all my being, foolishly believing you reciprocated. I should have realized your discontent, understood that I wasn't enough for you. In that moment, life lost its meaning without you, and I almost welcomed death during the surgery. But it seems fate has other plans for me. Now I'm at a loss, unsure of what to do. For the first time ever, I feel uncertain about everything. I've been consumed by the thought that my life has been a facade. Questions flood my mind. Have you been with others? How long have you been unhappy? I just want peace, for this ache in my heart to vanish. I wish I could disappear. Erica, without you, life feels meaningless. Brock, please don't say that. I love you and I'm here for you, I promise. There's no one else. I made a terrible mistake, that's all it was. I don't want him. You have to believe me. When you dropped the menu that night and I saw your face, my entire life flashed before my eyes. In that moment, I realized everything and panic consumed me. I wanted to vanish so I can relate to what you're feeling. But you have to trust me. There has never been anyone but you. That night meant nothing to me. Just a fleeting moment, I swear. Erica, I saw how you looked at him, how you held his hands. I saw the love in your eyes. Then I noticed how you ignored my calls and pushed me out of your mind. You deceived me, met with him the moment I was away. How many times has this happened? How many other men? Can you grasp what I'm thinking now? I'm thinking I married a deceitful, unfaithful woman who betrays me when I'm not around. Oh my God, no! It never happened before. You have to believe me. In a subdued tone, why? Why should I trust you? You're dishonest. How can I trust someone who's dishonest? You deliberately went on a date with another man without informing me or expressing any dissatisfaction with our marriage. No, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to trust you again. You've hurt me, Erica. You've shattered my heart, violated our vows, and wounded my soul. We need to discuss what happened, but for now I need you to leave. I need time to heal and process this. I still love you, and that won't change, but I need to contemplate our relationship and its future. Erica felt his pain deeply, realizing it stemmed from her selfish actions. How could she explain to her husband that she had no feelings for Clark, that it was merely a one-time event to inject some excitement into her life, away from the responsibilities of motherhood, to combat loneliness and boredom? It was meant to be a simple evening out, dressed up, a nice dinner, perhaps some affection, but nothing more. She didn't desire this, but she bore responsibility. Would he ever comprehend? Could she win him back? Nurses had to intervene to calm Brock down. They led her back to her hospital bed, explaining that Brock needed peace and quiet, and her presence was upsetting him. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she reflected on her conversation with her husband. She felt adrift without him, yet she knew he was right. They needed to communicate and determine if their relationship still had a future. She wasn't sure if he could ever forgive her, but she was prepared to do whatever it took to mend their relationship. The arrival of the children. Brenda and Robbie, their children, arrived that evening upon learning of his awakening and conversed with their mother to gather more information. Erica disclosed everything, breaking into tears as her children watched in astonishment. They both embraced their mother, attempting to soothe her and offer much-needed affection. Robbie spoke first. "Wow, we leave for school and our parents suddenly become rebellious teenagers. You two are behaving like kids, and now it seems we have to be the adults." This elicited a small chuckle from Erica, who finally ceased crying. Brenda, closer to her mother, began her inquiry. "What were you thinking? Going on a date? You're married, and Dad adores you. How could you do this to him?" Those words struck Erica deeply as she stared at the floor. "We've been friends for years, and we just sort of agreed to have dinner." "Mom, don't lie to me. You don't do that kind of thing. What were you thinking?" "I've missed you kids, and with Dad traveling, I get lonely. It was exciting to have a younger man ask me out, and I made a terrible mistake. You have to believe me. Nothing happened." Robbie interjected. "Mom, I know Dad, and if he saw you out with another man, that's bad. Tell me, Mom, how many times have you been out with him?" "Just this once." "What about lunch, just the two of you? How many times? That's a different situation." "Nonsense, how many, Mom?" "I'm not sure, quite a few." Brenda shook her head. "Mom, you're not naive. Don't pretend." "Mom, have you ever kissed or held hands? Anything intimate like that?" Robbie inquired. She remained silent, simply gazing at the floor. "Damn it, Mom. How could you betray Dad like this? Please help him understand. I need your assistance. I promise I'll never repeat such a mistake. I'd do anything to undo it. I shouldn't have gone to dinner or allowed him to get close. I know better." Brenda shook her head and stated, "I'll talk to Daddy. He might listen to me. But Mom, we're deeply disappointed in you, and right now you're not our favorite person. Hurting Daddy is unacceptable. And if you weren't my mom, I'd shake some sense into you. Robbie, stay with Mom while I have a chat with Dad." Meeting Dad for the first time, Brenda took his hand and told her dad how much she loved him and missed him. They both cried when Brenda hugged him. Then she told him how upset Mom was and that they believed nothing had happened that night, and never before. Brenda advised to see a psychologist and deal with it before he leaves her. She said that after 25 years, you can at least give her a chance to explain herself and try to fix something. Brock loved his little girl, and her presence in many ways eased his mental suffering. "I love you, Brenda. and thank you for coming to visit me. To be honest, I'm not sure what to do with your mom. You know how much I love and adore her, but the realization that she wanted to be with someone else really turned my head. I'll think about what you said, but I won't promise anything." A few minutes later, his son Robbie talked to his father from a man's point of view and explained that they had never been close, and therefore his mother had never disrespected him. "Dad, you need to step up and forgive Mom. She never betrayed you with that person or anyone else, so she didn't disrespect you. Mom and you belong together, and since nothing happened, you have to forgive her one mistake. She's really hurting, Dad, and needs to know you won't abandon her." He understood that Robbie was close to his mom and readily accepted his comments. "Son, I promised your sister I'd work on things, attend counseling, but I can't make any promises just yet. And son, when I'm better and back on my feet, we need to discuss what respect and marriage mean." "Okay, Dad, I get it, but remember what I said. Mom never betrayed you. You're still her one and only love, so don't give up on her without a fight." Brock was proud of his children and their efforts to ease his pain. 2 weeks later, Brock was discharged, rented a townhome, and would be undergoing rehabilitation at Walter Reed Medical Center for another 2 months. Korsiarika Tomer. 1 year later, Brock had ascended to the role of assistant director and was now residing permanently in D.C. Erica had returned home, endeavoring to sell the house they had called home for a quarter of a century. During the 6 months they spent apart, Brock in D.C. and Erica back home, they engaged in 6 months of marriage counseling via Zoom conference calls, which appeared to be yielding progress as they aimed for reconciliation, despite encountering some rough patches. Despite Brock's ongoing struggle with personal demons, there was still a lack of intimacy. However, during Brenda's graduation ceremony, when they reunited as a family, things began to feel more normal as they reflected on their shared life. That evening in the hotel, they made love for the first time since the fateful night, with Erica expressing her deep longing for him through kisses, hugs, and tears of joy. She promised to be the best wife possible. 2 months later, their house sold, and Erica moved into Brock's luxurious townhome in D.C., the one he had purchased for his new job. It was an opportunity to leave the past behind and start anew with the woman he cherished above all. 3 years later, Brock ascended to the position of FBI director and received numerous accolades, including the FBI Medal of Valor, leaving his friends and family puzzled as they were unaware of his true role within the Bureau. Eventually, they realized there was more to Brock than they had previously realized. Their life as a couple thrived as they began spending all their free time together. Brock traveled less frequently and ensured his wife never felt lonely again. After the first year, Erica ceased apologizing for her past mistakes and instead endeavored to make up for them daily, recognizing the depth of her love for the man she had fallen for years ago. Each night, she expressed gratitude to God and made sure Brock knew just how much she loved and appreciated him in every possible way. Despite facing minor challenges, their love endured, and they spent the next 20 years together, relishing the joy of their 6 grandchildren. Brock remained deeply devoted to Erica, grateful for their reconciliation. Their happiness persisted until Erica peacefully passed away in Brock's embrace after a brief illness. Unable to bear life without her, Brock followed suit 6 months later.